Here is a beautiful Brann game filled with great pause the video moments and figure out the play if you're into that stuff, and a bunch of cool questions that you can ask yourself with a double token opener. So if you don't know how to play Brann, I guess this video will also do a very good job demonstrating how you high roll the most when you hit tokens. On top of that, there's also a tournament announcement in here that I'm playing in today, so you'll hear about that in a second. But we found double tabby cat, Murloc, by turn 3. This is amazing, and if you haven't had too much experience yet with Brann, essentially what you want to do is stay on 1, try and find your Battlecry cards. You also mainly pick Brann when there's tokens in the lobby, and if you find a second token, you hold it in hand, because if you play your Brann, this is a triple, because I get double the summon from this alley cat, so we get double tabby cat, and we have a triple. So we found another alley cat. Now, this is the first pause the video moment if you want to figure out what the optimal play here is. Do you just take this triple? Do you play your tabby cat on board? What do you do? I need to buy one more Battlecry here in order to get the Brann. I decided to just sell my alley cat. I really don't want to triple this main body. That seems like bait. But instead, I'm going to slam this Brann here, play the token, which I held in hand for this specific reason, so I can triple, you know, not the main body, but a token that summons. And now I have another alley cat that I can play from hand, and we have a pair on either alley cat or the token. But I found another alley cat. Like, the game is just throwing these cats at my face, so now I gotta break my head over what the optimal line is. Once again, you can try and figure out what the best line here is. This is 7 gold, so normally we want to sell double level. How the hell do we sell double level while, you know, making our economy work properly and getting, you know, as many triples out of this as possible? So we could either triple the main body again, or we could triple the token. I decide to sell both main bodies. I think tripling the main body here isn't correct, and I'll show you in a second why. Because I can sell all of these cards as well, play the alley cat, summon, get another triple, right? Sell the main body, and now I can still double level, so my economy works perfectly. And I have still a Murloc token and a Beast token on the board. So if I find another alley cat or a Tide Hunter, it's another triple. That's why I didn't want to triple the main body, because right now any token is still another triple. Like, I think you almost never want to triple the main body, since it doesn't make sense. It's always better economy wise, and when it comes to, you know, wanting multiple triples, to always try and take as many token triples as possible. Now, I'm heavily considering whether it's worth taking 5s or 6s, but that's something you always want to do. Now, this Flurgle is holding a triple and power leveling. I don't know what the hell he's up to, because he's facing a Brann. He's going to take a lot of damage here, but you do you, buddy. But yeah, so don't just take your triples into 4s or 5s automatically. I saw that my opponents are probably pretty weak, and I saw the tribes in the lobby, so I was just going to push straight towards 6. I'm 30 HP with double triple. It's looking amazing. Now, out of these, it's either Flattusk or Lilwag. I don't want max out too early. Lilwag skills me up, Flattusk as well if I hit Agam, but I think Lilwag together with the Brann is probably better. And there's an Amalgadon, which I'm just going to snap pick pretty much, because it's an elemental with Lilwag, and I mean, it's an Amalgadon. Firebat doesn't really do anything on this board yet. I have no synergy, so I might as well just take this here. And I do want to probably get another Adept on the board, so I'm looking at this spicy Kibler in the shop to hopefully fix my Amalgadon, give it shield, give it poison. That's all I really care about. And in the end, it gets taunt and plants. Sure. So there's a Saffron in the shop that I could lock, but I don't think it's very likely my Amalgadon gets poisoned since it is taunted, unless I can somehow guarantee 3 things dying, which I guess against this Milker was possible, but I didn't have the money anyway, and then next turn we gotta face someone that isn't gonna kill my Amalgadon too early either, or I would need multiple taunts. I'm not freezing is my point here, since I do have way more high roll potential. I can still find lookouts and then level and find more Amalgadons. I can do all this crazy stuff still. There's a Jug, which is amazing stats, and now I have an interesting question for you to consider. What am I going to use to scale? Like, how am I going to get bigger? Where am I going to go in the end game? And what do you think my final board is going to look like? So I love doing these in my videos, because it allows you to also consider what direction I'm going in, what cards I'm looking for and considering, and if I should level or not. So I found a Hydra still, which I think is worth taking, since we only have like a Lilwag and a Amalgadon. Those are our only cards right now. The others kind of suck. And that was a Mama Bear with it in the shop, and I'm holding a Jug, so I can kind of guarantee a pretty decently sized Hydra here. And as we all know, cleaves are pretty good. Now, one issue and one reason why I didn't level here is because Flurgle died already. I mean, what did you expect, buddy? So there is no damage cap anymore. Even though I'm on 30 HP, I'm not comfortable taking over 20 damage here. Look at this guy, how strong strong they are. They're still milking with Doomsayer Witchwing, but they also have a massive cleave that I luckily play around. He doesn't play around my cleave, which kind of pepega, but you know, it is what it is. I also took the Spore just for strength, so I was more guaranteed to win the fight, and now I can definitely consider leveling this turn. And I was really thinking about it, but there is a Recycling Wave in the shop. I'm facing the top person, someone else died to them, and I do think I need the stats. So I'm just gonna get bigger here, since I do have, you know, the Hydra still, like I scale up a lot with Lil Reg, cycle a lot with his Rave. The potential is still pretty high on tier 5, and I guess we can level if you find the lookout, or, you know, next turn if I feel like I'm strong enough and have a decent enough board, because I would also be down a unit here if I'd want to level. Taking these elementals, because it's a pair, it's a lot of free rolls. I think it even saves me economy. Jug isn't horrible, and we can even end on Wildfire, get the +4/+4. I guess another like okay-ish card. One issue though is that, you know, I'm just skilling with Lil Reg now and a little bit with Brann, but as you know right now in the elemental meta, demon meta, that skilling doesn't really compare to a lot of other things happening right now, like Dazzling Lightspawn, like double Firebat, all that crazy stuff, and a bunch of poison. Like this guy, double Doomsayer, double Massive Taunt. Luckily I open with Spore, I read my opponent, and that is just gonna completely destroy them. This cleave as well, they didn't play around it, or maybe they did. It's really hard to play around it with that kind of board. But yeah, it seems like they'll be taking a rather big hit here. There's no damage cap anymore, and now I might feel comfortable enough to level. We can't face the ghost, we don't have a lookout ready or anything, so it's not like we can level and discover Amalgadons, but I still have my 30 HP. I still have a lot of potential. I find this card, the Tempest here, I almost forgot the name, which is obviously great. A lot of free rolls, a lot of stats, maybe a Amalgadon, or maybe even a Genie or a second Lil Reg. So with elementals, one thing that you do also really want is, you know, you want to up your skilling, and the good thing with big elementals in tier 6 is it is exponential. You can find like multiple Lil Regs and then Genies that give you more, and eventually you just completely blow up, and you can actually compete with the high rolls. Now this guy had a Divine Shield Taunt, didn't expect it. It's a no mech lobby and there were elementals, but I guess the Divine Shield Amalgadon is still something I would have to play around. They do beat me by 12. That's okay, I took the level and didn't do too much. I'll take my L and just move on. One other thing that I want to point out that you should definitely pay attention to is how much value I'm getting from Brann with this Lil Reg. I think too many people underrate Brann in an elemental comp like this. If you play big elementals, I almost always want a Brann because it works with the Amalgadons, but also just with all the elemental better cries and other buffs that you would like. So I would always try and find a Brann. I see too many people just skip it when they're playing big elementals because they feel like it doesn't add too much. Finally found the lookout. Find a Cyclone, and let's see what this has. I'll quickly talk as well about the tournament that's happening today. So I'm playing in a big invitational by Slysssa. It's a tournament happening today, tomorrow, Friday, and in the weekend there's also qualifiers. So today I'm up against 7 really great players, high on the leaderboards, most of them, and streamers as well. So if you want to see some high stakes lobbies, I'm gonna try hard my best. I've had some good games lately, so hopefully I can put up a show. And if I get top 2, so if I'm amongst the 2 best players out of, I think it's 7 games, I'm not entirely sure, then I'll advance to the finals, and I'll let you guys know if I made it and when that is, if you also would like to catch that. So it's streamed on Twitch. It's linked down below if you want to catch it. But okay, if you were paying attention in the background, I found double Seafood Slinger. My lookout was kind of shit. We didn't hit like 7 or another Amalgadon, but I found another Cyclone. Look at how big my Cyclone is in one turn. I just put an empty Cyclone on the board, or an unbuffed Cyclone, and I played one single Smogger, and it's already almost at a 20 attack with Divine Shield, which is massive. So that's kind of an insane transition, honestly, or finding like a new card and making it that big in a single turn. I was considering not doing that and just buffing the Amalgadon instead, but probably not worth. Now it's top 3 and I'm still doing this bad scaling, so in case you answered to my question earlier, you're just gonna scale with your Brann and your Lil Reg and you didn't consider anything else, congratulations, you're actually correct. It wasn't a trick question. I would like to throw trick questions in these videos, but sometimes it can be easy as well, right? Now I'm getting a lot of discovers here, a lot of stuff happening. I still don't have a second Amalgadon. There's a second Lil Reg, so I guess we could scale up a little bit more. Let's see what this is. It's our Amalgadon from the Discover. But yeah, I've been on tier 6 quite a while. I still have the Seafood Slingers. It's kind of unfortunate that we only have one unfixed Dong. I think Jen is gonna have multiple good Amalgadons, so we're strictly behind, right? I'm selling the Spore for board space reasons. We can, you know, we have a MarkMcKz in hand anyway. I can find poison rather easily. And I'm trying to find or play as many tribes on the board, of course, to fix my Amalgadon. And guess what? It's another trash Amalgadon. It's not fixable since there's no module, and I don't have a 7 anyway. So instead, I decide to, you know, I'm just gonna sell it in case I do get an Amalgadon of this Tavern Tempest. I don't want to triple it, so I'd rather just find a new one, put it back in the pool as well. Maybe the Stasis is gonna get me an Amalgadon or a Tempest or a triple onto Lil Rag, and now the APM sets in. It was also still worth taking MarkMcKz and going with Reborn, since my scaling was so okay-ish, tempo-ish, but minimal for an end game. I do still want to transition. So even though you could have been correct on what my next turns were going to look like and what my scaling was going to look like, you might not be correct on what my end game is going to look like. I'll give you a second chance into thinking of what my board will eventually be to try and counter this Jandis. As we can see, they have double Amalgadon. One of them is fixed, one of them is not, but it seems like this unfixed one is going to be fixed this turn though, which is pretty unfortunate. They also have like Golden Zephyr, more Murlocs, and some decent stats as well with on the Cyclone. My Hydra hits the back, which is pretty unfortunate, pretty bad. It could have killed the Zephyr, it could have removed the Divine Shield, and in the end we are going to end up losing this fight because of that. But we're alive, that's all that matters, as long as we can live and try and play around her next. I'm still holding the Slinger, like I just pointed out, and we still can find Amalgadons as well, just like her. Now there's no Prester, which is one of the best deck cards if you're in an Amalgadon 1v1, if you want to try and win it. I also don't have to play around it, and I'm taking this MarkMcKz now. As we saw, we do need more poison, or more stats and more relevant units on the board, but I feel like I won't be able to put that on the board. You know, if we're up against Ghost, I can greed here, just hold, I rolled a bunch. But it's now a 1v1 against Agendas. So I'm already happy I made it this far, doing just random shit with my Brann and my Lil Rag. Found another Reborn. I'm mainly rolling for tech cards like Selfless that I have in hand. Rolling for a Amalgadon Lookout still, since I do have a Seafood Slinger. I found, you know, second max with Reborn. I would also like a triple onto Lil Rag, because I could discover another Amalgadon or more useful cards. I'm just gonna, you know, Seafood Slinger the 7. I think it's more than good enough. Now, I'm trying to figure out board space wise how I'm gonna do this, and I'm not selling a Lil Rag here yet because I could find triple Lil Rag from the 7, so it's not an order. I did want to play the bust first before playing the 7, because maybe I triple Lil Rag here, then I don't run into board space issues. But now it's time for the Lil Rag to go, since it wasn't tripled. The Brann I also can't keep around really. We didn't find another Amalgadon. It has to be final fight here, right? Unless we tie. Could put another Reborn onto the MarkMcKz. So double Reborn MarkMcKz is just a super consistent end game, even if, you know, I had a lot of spots that weren't filled with anything. It's one of the best ways that you can probably, you know, counter most boards. I think it only loses to tokenish boards like Beasts with Mama Bear, but other than that, it should be really good against other poison, against big elementals, against it's kind of busted. I do see it being nerfed very soon. They opened with their Amalgadon now, and my 7 was able to get poison here. My Hydra doesn't do shit, all it does is kill a Brann, which is pretty bad, because now, you know, the 7 was also able to trigger onto the Murloc already in the back. Now, my worst nightmare is a MarkMcKz now on 1 HP attacking into a plant, or a plant attacking into it and getting no value, which, you know, this was a 50-50 to tie. We end up losing this, sadly, but I'm alive. It's 7 damage, we have 1 HP, that's all I need to make a comeback. I'm also holding a Coiler in hand, and Coiler is actually not a horrible tech card, since it does allow me to bump some of his shields, or some of their shields. Plus, he has like a very weak Murloc with 3 HP, maybe that could be traded by one of the Daffodils that it summons. It could, you know, leave a trail of random Daffodil cards and then maybe deal more damage in the end. If they survive, it could eat up the plants, so the plants don't kill my 1 HP MarkMcKz now, so bump my shields. And all I'm doing is playing a ghoul here. I sold the Hydra, because Hydra didn't do anything, and I feel like it won't be big enough to actually make an impact. I have ghoul to remove shields, so I don't need MarkMcKz, Hydra there to try and remove shields as well. All they did was also put a Selfless on the board instead of the Brann, and we'll see how far we can get here with our board. Now, I kept the Lil Rag because the stat line actually was good. It still value trades or trades with most cards except for the Cyclone. And now it's all about the hits. Cyclone hit into a plant, which is amazing. Now, if my MarkMcKz now doesn't hit a plant, I win. It hits a plant, you can see me losing my mind. That was probably the worst hit, but I think most of the time we still win. So, hope you enjoyed this transition as well. Hope you, I mean, maybe you saw this endgame coming. It's just a bunch of Reborn Spiders and poison as usual after skilling in the mid game. Nothing too crazy, it's just a matter right now. Thank you for watching. I hope I see you later today in the stream in the tournament. And have a great day. Take care.